Today, NIC Holdings a listed entity, one of the listed entities on the Ugandan Securities Exchange, is holding a special AGM pending final regulatory approvals that will see the majority transfer of ownership of NIC Holdings from IGI PLC to Cornerstone Asset Managers. It's fundamental. Why? NIC Holdings is one of the very few entities that are listed on the Ugandan Securities Exchange. It was publicly listed in 2010 when at the time the government of Uganda, which at that time owned close to 40% of NIC Holdings, listed its remaining shares. Because remember, NIC used to be a parastatal. In 2005, it was privatized, where the government sold off the majority ownership to Corporate Holdings Limited, which took ownership control, and NIC became a parent company. In 2010, the government, with the remaining balance, it was listed on the Ugandan Securities Exchange, and many people bought through it. So it has been trading for the last close to 16 years. And from a group perspective, it owns two insurance entities. It owns the general insurance business and the life insurance business. And for some of us who pay attention to the industry and see what is taking place in the industry, especially on the listed entities, NIC is one of those very few listed entities that you believe they are yet to realize their potential. Now, the transfer, at least the acquisition of Cornerstone, the majority acquisition of the shares of the majority shares by Cornerstone Asset Managers, pending the final approvals. I'm told they have not yet got all the final approvals, but when those come in, it will be a fundamental change and a trust into the insurance business that it still has potential. And for a company that is fully listed on the Ugandan Securities Exchange, we want it to see it succeed, because when it succeeds, it sends the perfect signal and confidence into our capital markets, especially for a company that has been there for close to 50 plus years, especially for a company now you can easily say it's majority owned locally. Now let me talk a little bit about that point. Majority of the insurance business in Uganda, if we are to think about it from the biggest insurance entities, majority of them are foreign owned. NIC is the only insurance group entity that is embedded into the insurance business that is locally listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And the potential for insurance in Uganda is still enormous. It's still incredibly enormous. So when you see the Cornerstone Asset Managers, the fund manager, they recently been performing extremely very well in the fund management business, in the CIS business, having a level of confidence to take on NIC Holdings Limited and transform the business and potentially turn around the business, and then, which means the shareholders now will potentially start seeing their share capital, share prices appreciating. That is a vote of confidence. It's a vote of confidence for the future. And when I was doing some research and even asking a colleague of mine what their thinking is, and they pointed out two things. The change is happening before our own eyes, pending final approvals. But at least right now, you can see two things that are major. The board, there is a change at the board level. Simon Mwebaze, the managing director of Cornerstone Asset Managers, is joining the board of NIC Holdings. That's very good. He's bringing enormous experience in fund management. He's tapping into his experience from their former employer. Another tap in, and these are people who have skin in the game. Another tap in is Professor Samuel, who also was appointed to the board by the previous majority holder. It's recent, and I believe it's part of the board resolution, the AGM they are having today. Professor Samuel was also on the board of one of the biggest insurance business in Kampala. So that is tapping into some core knowledge and experience that they are bringing onto the NIC Holdings Limited. Two, the question that remains that is extremely important are two. both from an equity shareholder, the people who own shares of NIC holdings on the Ugandan Securities Exchange, but two, and most importantly, the insurance business. Can the acquisition, can the change of guard, the change of majority control, which becomes then NIC becomes a parent company, a subsidiary to Cornerstone, can they have the skin to transform the insurance business? The insurance business is growing. The general business is just growing. The potential of both life and general business in Uganda, we have not even yet scratched even 10% of the potential of the company for the next 10 years. And that's sometimes it's a vote of confidence that if there is still so much gap out there, then you believe the transformation that might happen with the NIC Holdings Limited can be good for the business, but then for the shareholders. When you think about the shareholders, then you think about it in two ways. You're like, how have they been performing for the last many years? You know, when you go back in 2010, the company got listed at 26 a share. 2011, it went to 27 a share. By 2014, it had dropped to 20 a share. By 2018, it was at 14 a share. By 2020, it was at 9 a share. And by 2025, it closed at around 5 a share. You can see their enterprise market value and their market cap has been reduced every single 2 to 3 years, coming down. The confidence into the company, especially for our capital markets, is we need more companies getting listed. But we also need those companies that are already listed to turn it around, to turn the business around, to bring back the investor confidence, to turn down up the share capital appreciation. That somehow, somewhere, you want to think the acquisition by, if they finally get all the approvals, the acquisition by Cornerstone Asset Managers that has done an incredible job in the fund management, which is bringing in some good experience on the board and potentially at management level, can potentially turn around the business into a profitable business, and from that profitable business can then turn around the confidence into the company, and then the price of the company go up. So as for the many people who are always asking, Alex, I'm looking for those companies that easily have a potential to a higher potential for an upside, this might be one of them. Especially if you are betting on people like Simon and his team and what they have done. When you look at his trail of successes in the different businesses he has managed, and you're like, if he can bring that experience onto the board and onto the team, the Cornerstone can turn around the business, then you believe getting this business might be something that we really need. And we want all the companies that are listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange to turn around, to be successful. Especially for a company like NIC Holdings, where majority of the shares actually now will be majority owned locally, right? Because Cornerstone, it's a locally owned business. You think about it from that angle, you be happy that you want it to succeed, because at that point, you know the success of that business is the success of many companies to come. I was looking at the majority of ownership of the company. If Cornerstone gets the final approval, then they will have almost 60% plus of the NIC of the shares. Then Mr. Simon, I can see he has a percentage. Professor Samuel, he has a percentage. Timothy Sabit Mutebire has some percentage. Mr. Sudhir Pareria has some percentage. Mr. Joseph Tukatire has some percentage. Ronald Setumba, Rashid Senyonga, and so many others. So all of a sudden, we have a company that is listed that is majority owned by Ugandan entities and Ugandan people. So hope they get the final approvals, and I'm rooting for them. NIC Holdings and the team that will want to turn around the insurance businesses, both the life and general, I'll be in the corner rooting for them, especially for some of us who want every single company that is listed on the United Securities Exchange to succeed. And if what it's going to take for them to succeed is a change of guard, and this potential acquisition is going to be one of those that turn around the business, you got him.